People in the United States say it's lonely at the top. Whoever said it was lonely at the top was not a good leader. Because if you're at the top all alone, nobody's following you.
Everywhere around the world, I hear the same need expressed. Leadership's the need. Leadership's the need.
A lot of places in the world, like here in the Middle East, they haven't had the example of any leadership in their government.
In our country, we don't have any leaders from whom we could take the example.
A lot of people heard about Saddam Hussein, our ex-president. This was the picture about leadership we learned and we knew.
Just because you have a leadership position doesn't make you a great leader.
Many Christian leaders are not developing leaders basically for one reason, and that is security.
Pastors are really afraid.
I'm afraid to release anybody.
They might take over the church. I want to dominate everything.
For the pastor who does everything, you're not allowing your people to be all that God created it to be.
How many of you want the church that you attend to grow and reach people for Christ?
Я хочу знать, как она стала церковью, которая эффективна и она быстро растет.
Some experts have told us that within the next 15 years, over 1 billion people will come to faith in Jesus Christ.
The real crisis here.
Who will lead those people?
Who's going to lead these people?
Who will lead those people?
And that's what we call the global leadership crisis.
And it is our desire to raise up, train, and resource 1 million Christian leaders around the world.
Equip is an international ministry that has a heart to train, resource, and equip international Christian leaders to fulfill the Great Commission.
If preaching were going to be enough to win this world to Christ, we would have probably won the world a long time ago.
The Great Commission is the heartbeat of what we do.
There are a lot of preaching going on, but not much developing leaders.
Another way it's been said, the church is overtaught and underled.
We had 11 small groups. They all died because there were no leaders.
If we look to the Bible, we see Jesus' ministry on earth. He did two things. He did the work of the ministry. He taught the multitudes, healing the sick, cast out demons, and so on. But the other thing, he trained the disciples.
And there hasn't really been a catalyst, a resource, a movement to help develop the gift of leadership.
It's not how much you love God.
To change a minister into a trainer needs some training.
Psalm says David led the people with the purity of his heart and the skillfulness of his hands. But you need to have the skill.
The thing that makes the Million Leader Mandate unique is that there's a process attached to the event.
Leadership is not just an event, it's a process.
Real change comes through process.
At the end of Conference 1, we will ask you to take a 3-year journey with us.
We have 6 books.
We will give you a leadership workbook
Twice a year.
and we'll teach you.
Each workbook has 2 lessons dealing with character, competence, and strategy.
When I attended this conference, the picture was totally different.
A radical change.
I've changed my view
It's not what I've learned at the college.
to look at the people that I'm working with.
At the college, I was taught to minister. I'm not a minister, I'm an equiper.
We're also addressing the idea of vision.
What Brother Tom talked about was true.
It has taught me my purpose.
Sometimes we serve Lord and we don't know our real purpose.
I see a purpose for me in life. Once I have a vision, I share the vision and I will mobilize people.
المعنى رائع لحياتي. What I am taking with me, I couldn't understand without being in this conference.
We are able to give them the tools they need to succeed.
What I like the Christian principles being taught.
Let me give you a biblical example of a position leader. His name was Rehoboam.
When you teach biblical leadership, you go back to some of the great heroes of the faith.
A biblical example of a level 3 leader is David.
For me, I learned what's the real leadership in Christianity is.
The Apostle Paul is a biblical example of a level 4
Это
leader.
библейский пример лидера 4-го уровня.
القائد كمان ده كان رائع جدا. I learned that a leader shouldn't be just helping himself.
We're not talking about managers here.
We're talking about servants.
For me, the best example is Jesus Christ.
Let's take those people and let's learn from them the biblical leadership skills that we need to take our churches, thus then our culture, to a whole new height in their relationship with Jesus Christ.
Other pastors now, they're beginning to ask me, what makes your church to grow?
About 6 years ago, we were in Beirut, Lebanon. A pastor from Amman, Jordan, came and attended that conference.
Khalil was one who had been constantly struggling that his church wasn't growing.
Khalil's church averaged about 90 people.
People kept telling him, if you pray more.
He brought guest speakers in.
You raise money and bring speakers over from the States.
He had revivals.
I mean, he having all-night prayer meetings.
And he had tried everything, but his church didn't grow.
I am tired. I'm exhausted. I'm frustrating.
And when he came to an Equip conference,
God changed something in my mind.
He went back and began to teach them what he had learned.
I understand. This is my problem. I am like one-man show.
He then took it back and began developing leaders.
Now remember, he pastored in Amman, Jordan.
From this time, God changed all my church. Now our church is full.
Well, Mohan contributes to the success of his ministry and the growth of his church, ultimately to God, but as one of the catalysts being the leadership principles that he learned from Maxwell.
When I had only 2,500 people, that is what I found the key is developing leaders.
The church has now grown to almost 30,000.
All the places are filled with people.
And the church is growing. And today, our church, we have so many leaders. We have about 80 pastors on staff.
We see a transformation happening in the leadership. They're accepting the lay people.
Every care cell or small group has 4 leaders.
The main job of a pastor is developing leaders. I want to be a model for that.
There are a lot of other leadership principles like teamwork.
We need a team to work together.
One of the greatest changes is learning that I cannot do it alone.
I was all alone.
We were a proper design church and everybody was supposed to hear from the pastor.
Moses has empowered Meshach.
I'm overseeing.
And Meshach is empowering other people.
Some of the things that I've given away when it comes to the leadership of the service, when it comes to Sunday school, we've equipped the Sunday school teachers. When it comes to baptizing people, I thought I'm the only one who can do it.
I no longer control.
And the pastor does not interfere.
I've delegated my duty to other leaders.
The senior pastor then have to focus on vision and the other things.
I didn't have that knowledge before.
But after giving it to other people, and I've realized this is so good.
And my work, as far as they're concerned, is to train them.
And now as the church is growing, I transfer what all I learned from Equip. Now there is a leadership team in my church.
There's a lot of potential leaders, but they are not discovered.
Because of the type of leadership, the top-down leadership says you are not important.
There are people who didn't use their gifts before.
What MLM brings is to say, hey, you are important.
I chose the guy. I encourage him to preach in Sunday. When he starts, I discover him, he's a preacher.
To bring people to their full potential. There's nothing better than that.
And when those leaders shake me and told me how they believe in me, they lifted me.
I remember the old man crying, the same, been in the church for over 30 years, and no one has ever acknowledged his calling.
They have a lot of potentials, a lot of gifts, and they are the leaders of the future.
The impact of the Million Leaders mandate goes far beyond the walls of the church.
Leadership materials cuts across.
It is cutting across the corporate world.
We are reaching the CEOs.
They are calling us.
It is definitely something needed in Africa.
It has transformed their companies.
It transforms people.
The principles are Christian and they are Bible verses.
And teach you how to be an honest business person.
But they say the principles work everywhere.
And because of that, clients are actually phoning us to do business with us.
Kenyan government, we have the members of parliament. They're asking us if we can work with them.
I wish that our new government could attend this conference or such conference from Equip. It will be wonderful.
It's been taken to people that aren't saved.
Key people in the government had come. There was a chief there, there were assistant chiefs. I was wondering actually how they were receiving it. And when the whole meeting was over, one of the chiefs raised up his hand. He asked, "Did I hear right that you are a pastor?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'm a pastor. Is it possible for you to come and begin a church here? Because if what you have taught is the kind of person you are, then if you began your church here, I promise to be a member."
So you can even teach to the non-Christians about this principle, and slowly you can add Christ into that.
A moment of teasing. Who else would want to be my church member if I began a church here? As like everyone was saying, yeah! Wow.
The Train the Trainers program is a very wonderful program.
They've asked us to train leaders.
We're going to ask you to in turn train 25 over those next 6 months.
We then went out to train others.
That's why I believe the secret is not just having big conferences. The DNA secret of the Million Leader Mandate is for you to go and teach others.
The key word is reproduction.
And I would pass it on to other brothers in the church in Iraq.
If you lead followers, the ceiling is low.
You're adding only one.
But if you lead leaders, something else happens.
You're multiplying.
The Million Leader Mandate has caught on like a brush fire.
Those who are being trained are saying we want to train others.
When you get the vision from the Lord, it's not just you get the training and train 25 and that's it.
God is giving us this new generation, this responsibility.
In fact, I trained more than 25 leaders.
I trained 75.
I train about 100 people.
More than 150 leaders.
I met one of the leaders. He said, I have trained 400 people.
And when you have a leader leading leaders, you have explosive growth.
Equip has a vision to reach 1 million leaders.
The first 2 trainings, we have trained 5,000 people. We are now getting the feedback that they are multiplying themselves into tens of thousands.
When we started this Equip program in South India about 2 years ago, it was only about 400, 500 people.
And originally, India, we were thinking 5,000 certified trainers.
Now it has reached 30,000 people.
Everyone trains 25 people. The job is done.
We can do it in Kenya alone.
The 1 million can be achieved in India itself.
We're looking at far surpassing that original million leader goal.
1 million is not enough.
It's definitely going far beyond that.
I feel 1 million is so easy.
The effect that it's having is beyond the million.
I see the million as the seed.
We are talking of several millions already.
Millions of leaders are going to develop.
This has to be God because it's so much bigger than we are.
Seems like we are in the days prophesied by Joel, that in the last days he would pour out his Spirit.
I'm seeing what the Lord is doing and I'm able to marvel. Million Leader Mandate is one strategy that God has used for a great awakening.
You can see the hand of God opening the doors.
God has opened up the door around the world like never before.
It's a mighty work from mighty God.
God is blessing this work.
The ministry that's happening, the evangelism that's happening, the churches that are growing, it's the Great Commission being fulfilled in action.
I readily recognize the fact that this is a move of God.
I believe the trumpet is up to the lips of the Lord.
I believe that when we're all finished with the Million Leader Mandate, that history will look back upon us and say this is one of the greatest moves of God in our lifetime.
And so the Million Leader Mandate is completely moving.
It's unexplainable.
God is preparing to his second coming.
We have got to make a difference today because the time is short.
The Equip training, God has given us these principles the right time.
God chose His right time.
God right now is saying, people, now's the time.
This training came just on time.
This conference it's in the right time.
So Million Leader Monday just came at the right time.
It is something that we need now.